Honey, there she is in that old purple bathrobe again. Oh my, I gotta go listen. She's on. Coffee time. Here we go. My name is Sarah. Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. And welcome, welcome, welcome. This is crazy. There's lots of different topics, but we always land on the same thing. Keto, done in a nice, disciplined way, will give you the results and the health benefits that you never ever thought you could have. If you're listening to me and you have an older metabolism, in other words, you're an old lady like me or an old man like me, well, the miracles that can happen are incredible. I have an assignment for you this weekend. No, come on, it's nice out. I have to garden. Well, put on this Netflix movie, put your earbuds in, and just listen because you're going to watch more than one time. Trust me, I've just completed the magic pill 2 times, and I will go for 3. Why? Because I got all these freakadeek notes of all the wonderful things that I learned, that I saw. And I'm pretty hardcore. It's hard to get me to tear up and really doing, oh, it's so nice. But this happened probably a half a dozen times when I watched it. And it happened the second time I watched it too. So the magic pill is on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, it's free. And I have Netflix set up on my tablet so I can watch these things when I work during the slower parts of the night with my prisoners. Some nights are easier than others. So when I got to the magic pill, I guess I didn't read what it was about. And I was just thinking, the pill, people take the pills and the doctors are real quick to write the prescription for the pills. And we think that they're magic because we feel better. Our numbers look better. The doctor smiles at us for the first time. They're all like Dr. Now with the scowl until, they give you this script for Lipitor. And then you come back a few months later and, oh, your cholesterol is down. That's so wonderful. Well, no. You don't want to be taking Lipitor, and you want to be getting off all the meds that you're on eventually, which has been proven you can do. Diabetes 2 is reversible. All right. I digress, don't I always? This thing is going to make me crazy. So we'll just do that. That took care of that. So the magic pill just follows lots of different threads all the way through. So it's not in a schizoid sort of way. It just gently weaves you into each story. And so when it goes back to that story, it's like, oh, okay, this is happening now. So they kind of start with this pantry purge, and you've got 3 generations. You've got the very overweight mom, I think her name is Debbie, and her son and his wife, and then 2 adorable little girls. And one of them is a nonverbal, autistic little girl with the older sister. And yes, the autistic girl does capture a lot of the family. So there's a nutritionist that comes in and helps with the pantry purge. And it is pretty funny because at first they have that little white bag that you would put into a smaller garbage bag. It's like you're going to need the great big, leaf holding trash bags because all the food. And it was funny because he pulled out a thing of syrup at one point and it said LITE on it. And he goes, I don't know what makes me more angry, what's in this or the way that they spell it wrong. I so agree. When I see one of those low fat things and it says light, oh, I want to just, the dumbing down of us here in America where we get used to terms and things that aren't spelled right. But I digress again. So they do the pantry purge and they're all going to go on this no grains and no sugar food plan. And of course it is to benefit the autistic girl because keto first came about helping those with autism and those that have seizures and And so it was a medical diet, so to speak, versus the way that we use it today. And so it shows the dad sauteing all these vegetables on top of the stove in a saucepan. And they ask him, so is this how you used to cook? And he said, I've never cooked vegetables in my life. So they get used to eating it. And so they have the nonverbal little girl, and they feed her some of this food for 5 days she doesn't eat. And of course, they're frantic that she's just going to perish because she's used to her standard American diet of goldfish, Doritos, chicken nuggets, apple juice. That's what they were feeding her. And, I'm sure he cringes today to think that this is what was okay to feed her. And she was addicted to those things. I mean, we've all seen it in grocery stores. And so they began to feed her keto foods, which is basically meat and veggies and high fat. And then they showed takes of the food that's been thrown at the walls and thrown on the floor, where she takes the paper plate and just like flips it back to the parent. Anyway, she wasn't having any of it. But after 2 weeks, she began to eat, and they show her eating steak and sauteed kale. It was amazing. So then they flip to a new thing we're going to learn about, and it's the Aborigines, and they are the oldest culture in the world. And of course, the way that they used to eat is just dying out, because the great big corporations like Nestle have come into their villages and brought along with it all the horrible standard American diet foods like wheat, like Coca-Cola. And they're interviewing these missionaries that have done unbelievable work with these tribes. And they say, yeah, they're feeding them Coke for breakfast, these children. And so all these diseases are cropping up. And there's this one so articulate, wonderful woman. I've got goosebumps thinking about her. And they said, well, when did all of this happen? And they said, well, the 70s, because she's old enough to remember when they started bringing in all this sugar, all this wheat, all these horrible American foods that come from Nestle and probably other companies as well. In fact, one of the nutritionists named off all the companies. And if you see, there's like these 10 companies that own the world with food production. And none of it is like keto friendly. And so everybody is getting diabetes, everybody is getting fatter, chronic diseases are coming. Asthma is rampant in this Aborigine tribe. And so there's only a few very, very, very elderly people that can pass on the way that they ate. So they planned this retreat for 11 women. And it's going to be a 2-week retreat where they're going to go back and eat the way that they used to eat. And it's so heartwarming. These women are also wonderful. Most of them are older, and most of them are overweight. There's a few women, probably 30, 40s, that, haven't suffered the ravages of the standard American diet yet. So I'll go back to that in a second. So then this nutritionist has the pantry purge people, the first family, identifying the fructose and what it's in and what the other names for it could be and how it's hidden. So they start to get educated on food labels, because now they're cooking in a keto-friendly atmosphere. So then we've got Dr. Perlmutter and Dr. Davis, little cameo shots of them talking about the standard American diet. And Dr. Davis said, there's 60,000 items of food in our grocery store. And if you took out all the ones with wheat, you'd have 59,990 items left, or something like that. I'm sure it was just to make a point. But isn't it the same with sugar? Somebody said if you took out all the items that have some form of sugar in them or artificial sweetener, what would be left? We'd have romaine lettuce. So they were doing their little cameo shots about, this food plan that we Americans are on. And then one nutritionist was talking about the labeling on the front of the box. And he says it's really pathetic when they have to put all the things that they think are good about the item. And he was holding a box of reduced fat wheat thins. And he said, it's really kind of bad when you're talking about taking the fat out of this horrific wheat product that's junk food. It's a cracker. There's no nutritional value whatsoever. And he says, so be, and I often say this too, like be careful of what's on the front of the package, because legally they're going to use all the terms they can, like all natural, that have, they're just this side of the law, and there's no meaning to them whatsoever. And then you flip it over and you start reading things like soybean oil and all of the 68 different sugars, and they're all separated so it doesn't look like it's like, wow, sugar's the second ingredient. No, because it's got one listed fifth, one listed eighth, and then, all of the chemicals and the wheat that's been hybridized. It's such a mess to go down these middle aisles unless you're looking for coconut oil or olive oil or macadamia nut oil. And so then he said that extra virgin olive oil, even though it's a processed food, it's cold pressed. So they literally take the olives and press them. And so there's not a lot of heating and, adding of other chemicals and processes that it goes through. So that's why when you want to look for first cold pressed, because it's really the most minimal of processes that has happened to that oil. So it's a good oil. And then Kate Shanahan was talking about veggie oils and the danger. Kate Shanahan is the nutritionist for, it's a basketball team out in California, and I can't think of it now, but she must be so much fun to work with, because these men have been raised on the franchise food, crumble your bag as you go through the drive-through window way of eating, and to get them to eat the vegetables and everything. She oozes personality, and I just love her. She's a brainiac, but does it in a way that you can understand. And so she talks about, the veggie oils, and very, very, very important. You've got the corn oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil. What vegetables have oils in them? Corn, soybean, veggie oil. If you see a Weston label on it, do not buy it. So yeah, and we have to check everything, even from buying the jugs of these oils to what's in, like commercial salad dressings. Flip that pup. Oh, canola oil. There's the biggie. And so she cautions you to stay away from these oils. And so because I'm only on page 2 of my enormous amount of notes, I'm going to stop here and do a magic pill part 2. But your assignment for the weekend is to watch it, just to watch it or listen to it. If you're busy doing something, put the earbuds in and listen to it for the first time, and then watch it the next time, because it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful movie that explains the benefits of going keto, of giving up the grains, giving up the sugars, giving up anything processed, giving up all that artificial stuff. If it comes in a box, there's probably damaging things in it. So I will stop here, look for Magic Pill Part 2, and this has been Part 1. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom in Food, with a homework assignment for the weekend. That's right. That's right. Bye-bye for now.